We are back for another week of weekly wraparound here at Hockey Hype Australia. I am Andrew McDougall. That is GG. We have spent a unusual amount of time together this weekend. What's been going on?
Oh, mate, just doing the commentary with you was a heck of a lot of fun. We covered 3 games this weekend, so both the Adelaide Sydney games and then today's Melbourne Brisbane game. A lot of fun, a lot of preparation, a lot of calling other coaches, etc. But it's been a lot of fun, mate.
Yeah, no, it was good fun. Never done it before, and I was blessed to do it with you. And we got some absolutely ripping games too, which made it even better.
Yeah, we did. We've got a professional to break down the games for us today. Came within budget, so we're pleased about that. We've got the head coach of the Perth Inferno, Graham Hyde. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
You're our key import for this week, Graham. So welcome
the
aboard.
accent fits in well, so that's good.
Yep.
Already got Phil Taylor in the chat. He's quick, isn't he?
He's a good one, Phil. He's on the money. He's chasing down pucks. He's the type of guy you need on your line, Phil Taylor. So appreciate the support, Phil. But yeah, again for the second time in 3 weeks, Graham, you're inactive. You're watching the other teams play. How does that feel?
I think the meme said that all that you've posted this week. I think it's the FOMO is real. I think we definitely wish we were playing, but we've got a busy December, so got to make sure the girls are fit and ready to go for them. So it gives us a bit of time.
Yeah. We've got a 3-week break until the next games, for a bit of a break in the AWIHL season overall. So we'll get to previewing the games to come. But for now, what are we going to talk about on today's show? And feel free, please, if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, feel free to drop a comment. If you have a question for Graham, please feel free to pop it in the chat, and we'll see if we can get to it. But what's on the docket today, Doogie?
So we have got the Adelaide Rush, who swept the weekend against the Sydney Sirens. They were very impressive. The Sydney Sirens still winless, but there was a lot to like about the Sirens weekend. Neil Brenning and the Ice getting 2 goals, Brenning, across the weekend. And the Brisbane Lightning making some adjustments from last night's result to take a big win over the Ice. I think that's about it. And whatever we've got for the expert coach on our panel tonight. So if you've got any questions for Graham, drop them in the comments. But one I wanted to ask you, Graham, what did you take out of your weekend in the last round down to Melbourne from your team?
I think any team that goes and gets a split in Melbourne's got to be happy. It's first time Inferno's ever beat Melbourne in Melbourne. We, especially coming off the Saturday, travel day, it's not easy. We knew Melbourne would be a bit slow out the blocks. They've not really started many of their games quick, so we thought we'd try and get the jump on them. We absorbed a lot of pressure, and Sasha King took a lot of shots, but on the Saturday we were clinical. The Sunday, different story. Melbourne came at us. I think they had a point to prove, and unfortunately we just weren't able to stand up. That first period, we hit the post and the crossbar before Melbourne scored. If they go in and you're going into the end of the first 2-2, it's a different ballgame. But overall, happy with a split.
And what's the plan now from now until your next game? Because obviously there's a break between schedules for the AWIHL after we've just had the games now into December. What do you do? Obviously you had this weekend off, and you got to play against the Lightning at the start of December. What do you take out of, or what do you look to do for the team across this period to prepare for the Lightning?
We've got to work on our special plays, our special teams a little bit more, get a bit more work done on that. Also, some of the girls are also travelling for the national camps in, so a little bit of rest and get them ready for Nash camp and what to expect over there with Marcus and his team. And then hopefully get them back, hopefully injury free, everybody's good, fit, ready to go for Brisbane. And Brisbane aren't a team to be taken lightly.
Yeah, and we'll get to Brisbane when we go through our what's on today's show. But to start things off, we had the Adelaide Rush and the Sirens on the Saturday. Adelaide with a 5-4 win. Gordon, we commentated that game. Absolutely epic contest with Adelaide getting a win, their second of the season. What were your takeaways from that win in that weekend?
I think for the Saturday game, I was interested in Adelaide, how they would play, because that opening weekend against Brisbane, they never actually held a lead during regulation at any point. They ended up winning, coming from behind and beating the Lightning 6-5 in overtime in that first game, and then lost the second. So I was interested to see how they would play when they had the lead, and they did have the lead for large chunks of that first game, and Sydney never held the lead in that first game, and the Rush were able to close it out. On the Sunday, today's game, the Sirens, it seems like a lifetime ago, but it was this morning. The Sirens did hold a 4-3 lead, and I thought that the Sirens had the game at that point. I thought the Sirens were good for the victory, but credit to the Rush for storming back and tying it up, and eventually the go-ahead goal. We got to talk about Kirsty Venus and Maya Tupper, just insane. That the license that they've been given. It'll be interesting to get your thoughts on it, Graham. The license that they've been given to offensively is unbelievable.
Yeah, well, from my point of view, you've got 2D that can carry the puck and can skate, and they're comfortable carrying it, so it does help a lot there. I didn't really notice much of them playing together on the same line much. They kind of been split, except from that last one where they scored on. It seemed that Adelaide went with a bit of a power line, and yeah, what a goal! You know, it was a great build up, and then take that shot from Kirsty Venus. It was a great goal.
Yeah, they definitely played on different lines. It seemed like one of them was on the ice the entire game, and was so such dynamic players, and not afraid to get in first on the forecheck, which, you know, as a forward, you need to be conscious of what's happening, just so that you can take up your responsibilities as the high forward. But yeah, just a unbelievable performance from the blue line. I talked to head coach Joey McDougall before the game, and I talked about Kirsty Venus being everywhere on that first game, and he said that, you know, maybe as a team this season, Kirsty Venus isn't used to playing with a high scoring team, a team that can score, which he feels this version of the Rush is. And so he said, you know, maybe as a coaching staff, we need to rein her in a little bit. We've discussed whether or not we do that after this weekend. I don't know what you do.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, they've got players like Kate Tahima and Natalie Iris, who once Venus goes forward, they've got smart players to sit back and strong skaters to sit back in that defensive role. So they've definitely got it covered. They're good. They're a very good side.
And one of the highlights that we continue to see from the Rush is their strength on the forecheck. They're relentless across 3 periods, just pressuring in their offensive zone to keep the puck in there. And one of those players is Tori Cebulski, who had another fantastic weekend. And I think we're going to be talking about Tori for a long, long time. Just an amazing young talent here in Australia.
Yeah, definitely. Like, and I believe it was her birthday this weekend, so she got a couple of goals this weekend. She's fast, she's aggressive, and she's only 17 or something, 17, around about there. So credit to her. We've seen the development in her last year when she was playing to this year, and she's taken another step. So she had a great weekend.
With just on Tori Sobolski, I need to give a shout out to the Adelaide Joker at Juniors who posted an interview. They had two of their players who train with the Adelaide Rush. Did an interview with Tash Ferrier, the captain, of course, of the Rush, and they asked Tash Ferrier which players to watch out for. Well, this weekend for the home opener just gone, but for the season, and two players that Ferrier referred to. One was Maya Tupper, and the second, a young player that she expected to see have a huge breakout season was Tori Sobolski. So I think we're starting to see that Tori Sobolski came up big in big moments, which is outstanding for her and will give her confidence a big boost, I'm sure.
And on the other side of the puck, we had the Sydney Sirens, who are still winless to start their season, which is unusual ground for the Sydney Sirens. But from my point of view, watching the two games across the weekend, I think there's a lot to like about what they're doing there. And they've got 10 rookies this season, so it's a bit of a rebuild after retirements and departures. But I think there's plenty to like from what you're seeing with players like Hannah Cryan coming into their own. Some of the passes from Hannah Cryan down low across the weekend, just to feed that puck against the boards, to feed it back in front for a goal scoring opportunity was sensational.
And Lily Roberts, 2 goals from distance, like smart shots to get away. The first one on the Saturday recognized that there was a screen in front of Archie Smith and took a shot perfectly placed just in one fluid motion. And then in today's game, again, another blast from distance that found its way past Amelia Knott. So they've got some players that look like they're going to be, good stars.
Yeah, definitely. You look at some of those young players that Sirens have got. You've got like Lucy York, Hannah Cryan, Ebony Brunt. These players are going to make a big impact on the U18's national team this year, and I'm sure Remy Harvey's over the moon with how much ice time they're going to get and the development of them.
There's two players for me with the Sirens that really impressed. They're not young players; they're older players. But it was Fiona Moon. I thought Fiona Moon on the blue line for the Sirens was fantastic. But Julia Pacini, if I get her name correctly, Julia Pacini, I think that's right, was also unreal across the two games for the Sirens. I thought Julia's pressure on the puck as well, getting into those along the boards in the corners, working hard to try and keep the puck in that offensive zone, things like that. I thought they were fantastic as well.
Yeah, I think having a chat with Coach Gabriel Blado late last week, we had a chat about you've got your team's in a different position than the last couple of seasons. How do you with 10 rookies traveling to Adelaide, how do you grow those players? And he mentioned that reading and reacting to players is really important. That's something that they're trying to teach the players, and they have a lot of meetings with the players. They'll run drills specifically just to force players to make decisions and then they'll discuss why did you cut inside on this play, or why did you go outside, just to make sure that their thinking is in line with the coaching staff, and that their hockey IQ continues to kind of develop and improve. So I can see the Sirens. I don't think where they are now is totally dissimilar to where the Rush were last season. And I think as the season goes on, we'll see the Sirens continue to improve. And I wouldn't be surprised if things click and they put together a bit of a winning streak.
I think you'll see the Sirens improve during the year, but the one thing they've got is they've got a bright future ahead of them as well. Like, these girls are 16, 17, they're going to carry the team for the next 10 years, and it's going to be an absolute dynasty when they mature, become older, and become veterans on that team as well.
And Gabe Robledo did mention to us about the work that Jaden Ryan had done in the previous years as the coach of the Sirens with the reserves players who are now on the squad. So it's built from before Gabe, obviously, but they will bring that through now.
Yeah.
So the standings now at the moment, the Melbourne Ice sit on top. They've played 6 games, and then it's the Adelaide Rush, Brisbane Lightning, Perth Inferno, and Sydney Sirens. But the Ice will sit out the first week of December. What did you see from the Ice this weekend? Split the trip up to the Lightning. We've got there Brenning on the list. Gordon, you wanted to put Brenning on the list. Scored 2 goals. First goal for the career yesterday. What did you see from the Ice and Brenning?
Well, I think Curtis Cloister mentioned that Brenning's been a really good addition to the team and has stood out. Which, when you look at the Melbourne Ice roster, it's pretty impressive to stand out amongst those names. So I think it'll be interesting to see. I still think she's being eased into the lineup a bit. I'd be interested to see if she shifts around, if they chop and change some of the lines. But yeah, so far a good solid addition. Seems to be defensively responsible as well as a player, as well as possessing a decent shot.
I think with with the Melbourne Ice team, I don't think you can get away from Julianne. I think the girls score like a hat trick each weekend almost. I think she is their main goal scorer within that team. And you look at some of the goal scorers you got in there, you still got Godfrey, you got Butler, Ash as well. You know, you got some great goal scorers in there, but she seems to do it week on week, and she's fast.
I think someone we spoke about a fair bit during today's broadcast was Aparicio, and it just seems like growing into a real leader out on the ice. And when there was a time there where the Ice needed someone to stand up and set a tone, Aparicio was that player today that was really grinding and working hard on every shift. And there was one shift there where she skated from the bench on the change and went over into the corner and won the puck and got the puck out, and they scored off that play. Really impressive again, and as we highlighted in the show last week, just set for a breakout in career season.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I think Ashley Aparicio, yeah, just a great person to have on your team, and performed well today. I think another important player today for the Ice was Shana Godfrey. We could see it, and we talked about it during the commentary that she was generating chances out of nothing. That's something that she just has a knack of doing. The 2 goals that she scored, the first goal, I think you highlighted Andrew, just keeping one hand off the stick to keep the player away and create space and power move to the net. And then the second one, beautiful one-time shot on the power play. I need to give a shout out to JD here, who refers to her as the apex predator. Just seems to be able to sniff out chances and create stuff out of nothing. How did you see the matchup, Graham?
I think, like you're saying, talking about Ash and Shanna, like Ashley scored the one-timer from the slot today, and she's always in the right place at the right time. She knows where to be. She's a smart hockey player. Shanna Godfrey, you just can't give her space. Like, I was quite surprised today because she had a couple of chances that you'd probably put your house on her to score, and that was a bit of the difference. Ice didn't take their opportunities today. They lost that fourth goal at the end of the period, and it just kind of a little bit of a mountain to climb. But it was no different to Brisbane the day before. I think they left themselves a mountain too big at the end of the first period on the Saturday, and you're going to struggle to score 5-6 goals against Melbourne Ice when you're behind. So it was a bit of a mixed bag, and I think also the 6 games in 3 weeks is a lot. It's a lot for the girls to keep playing, keep performing, and it may have just caught up on them in the last day.
If you got any thoughts about the weekend, just chuck them in the comments. We'll get them up on the screen. We can talk about them. That was one thing that I did mention, is that it's difficult for any team to travel and win and sweep a weekend. So if you can split a traveling trip, you're doing pretty well. It doesn't matter what team you are. From a coaching perspective, Graham, the Ice, they like to play fast. They like to use their skill, and I felt today that the Lightning were sort of hindering them from playing that sort of tape-to-tape passing. There was a lot of sort of Godfrey one-out, things like that. How do you set up as a coach to face a team like the Ice?
It's hard. You've got to either go at them. You've got to decide you're going to go at them and not give them space and really pressure them high in the ice, or are you going to sit back a little bit, give them the space, and then shut them down in the neutral zone? So it's really hard, and especially depending on the energy levels of the girls that day as well. It's a mixed match, because that short-handed line Melbourne Ice have got, talented, they're fast, but they're very aggressive, and they like to play. Even when you've got the puck, they're on you. They play a 2-man forecheck, and you don't have time on the puck. So I think the best way for them is just, you've got to shut them down and not give them the space. It seems to be the best way. Quicker you can shut them down, the more chance you've got of turning the puck over and getting control of the game.
Does it help, or how big of an advantage, if indeed there is an advantage, in having last change at home? Do you match up against a team like that, or how do you handle it?
You've got to try and get the matchups as best as you can. You know, like I'm pretty sure Melbourne expected us to come out on the Saturday game starting Michelle and Biz on our first line, and we switched up and we started with Sarah, AWIHL, and that just to let them have the speed at them and see how they handle that speed, and just spice things up a little bit.
And the team the Ice faced, obviously, was the Brisbane Lightning at home. They lost last night, but were able to get the win today. One player I want to highlight, and I think has been a terrific addition to the league. I got it mucked up on the broadcast today because I got it confused with Alison Carlisle, but Emma Wuthridge is a really, really good talent that the Australian Women's Ice Hockey League should be proud to have in the league. And well done to the Brisbane Lightning for getting someone with that pedigree into the competition, and just looked really good across the weekend again.
It's another great player that the league have picked up. You know, like you see these talented players coming over from overseas, and it helps young girls, and it helps all the teams out. Like if you're playing against better players, you're gonna step up your game. So it's only going to make the league stronger and better. And Brisbane have got a lot of talented players. You know, they've got Kolinik and Courtney, is it Mahone? You know, they've got Rapchuk. You know, they've got some real talented players, and she slots in there really nicely.
Yeah, it was interesting having a chat with head coach Matt Meyer today, because we talked about the lines, and I told him, I asked him, you know, will your top line of Kalinick and Brown and Mahoney, will that stay the same? Will we shake things up? And he said that he doesn't have top lines. He said that they have lines fit for purpose, and they've named their lines after big women's hockey icons. So they've got a Poulin line, a Knight line, a Decker line, and a Nurse line, and they all kind of fit the purpose of those lines. One of the things that he did today was he shook up some of the line combinations. So Wuthridge came from playing center to playing on the wing with Kalinick and Mahoney. And I think that was an interesting one, and kind of, I don't know how you feel, Graham, but kind of sounds a little bit similar to how you kind of shook things up, changed the expectations of the Melbourne Ice, and had a bit of success.
Yeah, that sounds like a dangerous line. It really does, and we are the same. We don't have a primary 1, 2, 3 lines. Ours are coloured lines, because we got 3 lines that can play hockey. We've got speed on each line, and I think that's where we found our advantage was to have lines where we had speed on each line. We could get after Melbourne Ice, and then we didn't top heavy any of the lines, so we had that. So
we've got the big dogs here on the show with Coach Graham Hyde and the crew. One player that I was excited to see get a bit more opportunity was Georgia Watts, and Georgia Watts obviously had an outstanding AWIHL debut last season before injury. Was named to the under-18 women's team, couldn't participate this season, named to the under-18 women's team again, and the World Youth Olympic Games. She scored a beauty. That second goal to Deke, and then the little backhand top shelf biscuit was pretty special. It'll be interesting to see what this does to Georgia Watts's confidence. Did you catch the goals, Graham?
Yeah, what a goal! The move is unbelievable. Like, for such a young player to have that confidence to take someone on, and she's going to be huge for Brisbane this year.
I don't know if that's a bit of wordplay from Andrew Egan there, electrifying. George's last name is Watts, of course. Am I the only one that picked that up?
If I know Andrew like I think I do, that I've known him for a long time, you're probably quite right. They're a very talented team, and when we spoke to Matt Meyer before the game, they got a really strong belief that they are a cup contender, the Brisbane Lightning. And when you look at a game like today, taking it right up to the Melbourne Ice, when you got Watts, Kalinick, Crompton, Mahoney, players like that, with the likes of Carlisle and Wuthridge, that is a strong team. When they can get going and get their tails up, they're definitely a real strong finals contender.
Definitely. But I think that's across the board. I think the league stepped up another level this year. I think each team's stronger. And I think, let's say, Sydney will come good. They'll beat a couple of teams. They'll find their groove. As well as ourselves, we are hoping to get a bit more consistency in our games. Brisbane, they're flying at the moment. They'll have a strong season. And then you got Adelaide. All the teams, they all stepped it up a level, and it's going to be hard to come away with a convincing weekend of winning both games.
I know you probably don't want to give away any secrets here, but you've got the Lightning back-to-back in December, away, and then at your first series at home. How do you prepare for a team like the Lightning?
4 wins. No, I'm joking. I think Brisbane are aggressive, so we just got to make sure that we're ready for their forecheck. Make sure we're comfortable on the puck, we're comfortable moving the puck, and get past that first forecheck, and then get our legs moving, get up the ice as quick as possible.
A couple of the players that we looked at when we were watching the game today, and were really impressed with. Well, I was anyway. Was Dixon on the blue line along with Goonan. They were just sort of trapping it in, holding it in there. How do you get past something like that, Graham? Is it just trying to work hard against the boards, just push that puck against the boards, and just keep working hard to get it out?
Yeah, when you've got strong defense on the blue line that keep the puck in, you really want to try and reduce rimming the puck as much as possible, and actually look for the play coming out the zone rather than just dishing the puck. There's nothing worse than dishing the puck up the boards, them trapping it in, you're caught down low, then all you're doing is putting more pressure on yourself deeper in the zone. So you really got to look for that breakout play to get the zone in without rimming the puck. And if you're going to rim the puck, it's got to be up and out. But in Perth, we've got the glass. We can use the glass to get it out. Melbourne, you can use it, but some of the rinks you can't. It's quite hard.
And one of the things, Gordon, you want to talk about, and we haven't got it on this list because we've just run out of dot points, or else the wording would be that small. You'd have to zoom right in. You wanted to mention goalie love.
Yeah, so I know it's weird to say this in a weekend that saw just a ton of goals again, but if you watch the games between the Adelaide and the Sirens, I feel for Naoka Wellard because she got pulled after rather quickly after a couple of goals went in. But Ella Lakari was great and kept the Sirens in with a chance. Archie Smith on Saturday made some unbelievable glove saves, and then Amelia Knott continuing her fine form in her debut season with another victory today. And then going over to the Brisbane Lightning, Katie Meyer, tough day for her, but Tracy McIntosh yesterday, came in and settled things down. Was sensational again today early in keeping the Brisbane Lightning close, to be honest, and with the lead. And then of course, on the Melbourne ice, I know you're a big fan of Michaela Pearce. I'm a big fan of Janelle Carson and what she's done for the league. It was great to see Janelle Carson make an appearance, and she made some pretty key saves to keep Melbourne in it too.
I thought McIntosh early was really the difference, I think, in today's contest. Just was an absolute brick wall. Some of the saves were just unbelievable.
I said it earlier, like you got Godfrey going in breakaways, and you'd expect her to score, and McIntosh just shut her out. It was good to see. Good to see goalies be aggressive, stand up to these players, and make it hard for them to make a decision. But one thing I want to say is it was great to see Archie Smith bounce back, especially after that tough game up in Brisbane. On the Sunday, bounce back with the win. I think they had a tremendous game and made it hard for the Sirens.
How do you juggle the goaltending situation, Graham? From a coaching perspective, is it just who's running hot? Is that how you work it?
And did you change the strategy based on my prediction for who would start on the Sunday game?
I'm not telling you that. Look, we've got Sasha King, right? She's a national goalkeeper. She stood on her head on the Saturday. She is our number one goalkeeper, but V went in on the third period. One goal went in on her. It wasn't V's fault, but she made some great saves. And the best thing I've got is V pushing Sasha to be the best, if not V plays. Simple as that. And V will get a chance. She'll definitely get a chance to play. But I knew you were going to ask that question.
I had a chuckle because Gordon was amateur. Gordon's like, no, they got to split the goalies and this and that, and Graham's gonna split the goalies one Saturday, one Sunday, and it gave me great joy when it didn't happen.
I bet.
Looking ahead, obviously there's a break now between this round and the next round. So the start of December, we have 4 games: Adelaide Rush v Sydney Sirens back in Sydney. So return matchup from what we've just seen this weekend, and then obviously your team, Graham, will travel to Brisbane and face the Lightning. What are your thoughts, Gordon, on these two matchups? Considering what we've seen from the Sirens and the Rush, especially this weekend, we could be in for another couple of cracking games.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see Adelaide play on the larger ice surface at Macquarie. So to see if they play if their chip and chase kind of game is as effective. How they go on the cycle. So I'll be interested in seeing that. I think that'll be a split. I do think that the Sirens will get their first win of the season, and Gabe Robledo will finally get his first win as in the AWIHL. The Brisbane Perth game, man, it's so. I've got the head coach of Perth right here. What am I going to say, Andrew? I think it's a split. I'm gonna say it'll be a split. Because the last time Perth travelled up to Brisbane, I know I've said this before, but on the Saturday game, Perth actually dominated last year and got a ton of shots on net, but Imogen Perry won that one for the Lightning. So I think Brisbane has some firepower. I'm going to go for a split.
It's a long flight. It's a really long flight.
We fly the Friday out. So going to Brisbane, we'll fly the Friday afternoon. Get to Brisbane Friday night, get a good night's sleep, get ready to go Saturday.
The squad nice and healthy, Graham?
Yep. I won't give too much away.
Well, we could be calling it, Gordon, potentially.
Will Jamie McKenzie be available for that game?
Yes. Jamie will be travelling to Brisbane. That was just an ITT issue with Jamie, and timing and flights and things like that. It just got too close to call, so we unfortunately left Jamie back in Perth, but she's itching ready to go. So it'll be good to see her get her first A-dub start this season.
Do you have an idea where she'll fit into the group, or are you kind of hesitant about sharing that information?
There's a few places she can play in that team, and where she's comfortable and where the line mates are comfortable having her. So she's a bit of a all-round player. If she gets on with the girls, she's happy to play wherever she plays, and she'll make an impact whatever line she plays on.
Can you tell us a little bit, another player that's been selected to the under-18 team from the Perth Inferno, Sophie Rito, who I believe scored her first AWIHL goal last season. Can you tell us a little bit about Sophie?
Yeah, Sophie's unfortunately not playing for us this year. She's actually away playing high school hockey in Canada, so she'll be over there again developing her skills. So well, it's a shame we've lost Sophie. She's a great player, great talent. She's very quiet until you get to know her, but Perth Inferno, we wish her the best of luck over there, and and we enjoy watching her journey and see where she comes for the U18's national team and the York team.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of questions from one of the players on your team. Michelle Clark-Crumpton was kind enough to supply a couple of questions. They're kind questions, Graham. But what is unique? What do you feel about the Perth Inferno makes them unique in the league this year? What's the special sauce?
I think we've got the depth this year. We've got more depth, so we're not relying on certain players to get us out of a jam. And to be honest, the team's they're just more interactive, they're more happy. The culture's a lot better in the team, and they're just enjoying their hockey. I don't think it's anything special I'm doing. I think the girls bring the energy. They were really up for the game on Saturday. They were itching to go last Saturday, and it made my life easy, made my job really easy on the bench.
I suppose. Oh, so yes, go, Gordon, go.
Oh no, I was just going to say that the other question that Michelle had was, what are you excited about for the season, besides appearing on this show?
I'm excited to see how much talent there is. It's real close with all the teams. I think I've said from like the start, the girls they're seeing how much more effort they've got to put in and how much of a jump there's been in the league this year. I've been in contact with a few of the coaches prior to each game and things like that. So even the coaches are a real, like, not cliquey group, but really wishing each other luck and things like that. It's great to see. I don't know if you've seen the game before on the Sunday with Melbourne Ice at the beginning of the period. I think you see me talking to the Melbourne coach for about 3.5 minutes during warm-up, just saying how great the Saturday game was and exciting. I think any player would pick a 5-4 game over a 7-2 game or a 9-0 game, you know. So I think it's better for the fans to see just all round. So I'm excited about how much the league's grown, and hopefully we can make finals and put on a show for the finals.
We can't let you go, I suppose, until we ask you about Sarah Salmons, who was a big acquisition in the off season, coming back home after spending time in North America. Can you just tell the viewers about Sarah? She's a great talent. Australia loves her, represented her country as well. Just tell us about the boost that is for the Inferno and in the league itself.
Oh, sure. She's such a talented player. Like, for such a small player, she's so fast, and her energy on the ice is second to none. She'll give you everything she's got, and she wants to be, like, every shift she wants to be the best player on the ice. Like, shift by shift, if she'll let you know she's not happy, and she's got a point. She goes out and she's got a point to prove. She's seen players blossom over the last couple of years, and she's like, right, I can show you I'm just as good. So it's great to see. And some of the goals she scored at the weekend, or last weekend, really good.
Is it tough? Is it tough to not have a home game until mid-December?
Yeah. We normally get a decent crowd down in Coburn, and it's tough on them to have to wait and see us travel and then finally get that home game. It does make it frustrating, and obviously we're jammed in between 2 away trips in December, so we've got to do what Melbourne Ice have just done: play 6 games in 3 weeks. It's a lot of hockey, but we just got to make sure we are fit and ready for it, and hopefully the fans enjoy the second half of the season where we're at home more.
I think that might do us, Gordon. Maybe I think Graham needs to feed the dogs before they start tearing down the walls.
I think the dog's going to try and get the neighbour's dog.
I know you've just come to us from playing a game, Graham. Did you win?
No.
No. Okay. Well, that's the end of that conversation.
What position do you play?
Forward or centre. As long as I don't have to back check. No paycheck, no back check.
No, thank you for coming on. Is there anything that you wanted to plug? Anything, any message that you want to get across to people, and anything that we haven't asked that you really wanted to comment on?
First of all, I just want to thank you two for what you are doing for the league. You know, this show, the commentary, everything you're doing, you're putting so much time and effort into it, and it doesn't go unnoticed. It's promoting the AWIHL hugely, so I thank you for that. I think it's really, really good. And to be honest, I'm just looking forward to a couple of away trips and get Christmas out of the way and hopefully maximise points. And yes, it's a tough year, but it's just the beginning. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. No, thanks for coming on. Thanks for all you do for hockey. I remember a quote that you made about if you're not, if you don't give back to the sport dies. Or something along those lines. You'll know it more eloquently, Graham.
Yeah, so that was told to me by a coach that every year you play, he says you should give back the same amount in coaching or the sports die. So, yep, still giving back to sport. So it's great. Yeah,
no, appreciate that, and thank you, Christian and Tommy as well for your kind words. Thanks for tuning in and watching. We would love to have more guests on the show. We've got a couple lined up potentially, Doogie, for later on when the season restarts. But we'll have a bit of a break for the weekly wraparound. And Andrew Egan just saying good advice there. So yeah, thank you. Really appreciate you taking the time and getting your insights. It's been nice, and thank you for making me look foolish with the goaltending situation there too. That was good.
I've got your back, mate.
Well, Andrew is joining the coaching fraternity, so Andrew will be part of that coaching group. Graham, he's going through his qualifications as we speak.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I've got a beer to drink after this one that I've been waiting to drink since we finished commentating.
Is that 9.1?
No, it's mate. If you've been to Canberra, Bent Spoke Brewery, just amazing brewery. Crankshaft, highly recommend a Bent Spoke Crankshaft. I don't know why I'm giving them free advertising, but it's a really good beer. Anyway.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in to the weekly wraparound. We'll take a break now until the Australian Women's Ice Hockey League returns in a few weeks. But check out hockeyhypeaustralia.com.au. Subscribe to our YouTube as well so you don't miss anything. And check out our YouTube. We've got shorts there and clips there. So even if you don't want to watch the whole show, you can check out some clips and some shorts on our YouTube as well. There you go, Gordon. You're getting some good advice here. Ben Hogan, Ben Spoke, awesome.
And Nathan Graham as well.
See, everyone's calling you GG now. Hey? You can thank my daughter for that.
Yeah.
You got yourself a nickname. Yeah, thanks heaps, Graham, for coming on. We really appreciate it. And we'll talk to you next time.
Yep, thanks for having us. Cheers.
Legend.